Hello there. I'm set up to film you.
So, hi, how are you today?
I am fine, and how are you?
Very well, as you can see.
It's not even the Sabbath and you're talking like this.
What? You're bringing out something I didn't know.
Yahweh.
I didn't know.
All right. Enough. Are you going to read for us tonight?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
I'm going to read chapter 29 and 30, and I'm going to start off with a few little past remarks that will bring us up to date.
All right.
As we know from this point on, Kojo's son, Kofi, is in Ghana, and he has been told that Asiafo may have had a child by a village girl, a Chito village girl, and she went to Accra, to the city, to the part of the city called Osu, and they may live there or not. He goes and he reconnects, or he connects, that is the son, Kofi connects with this lady named Grace, who was close to his daddy and possibly could have been his mother if things could have been worked out, but it didn't work out that way. Meanwhile, he's after the Asiafo girlfriend who had the baby and winds up in a section of Accra called Jamestown. And Jamestown was not considered one of the upper class neighborhoods at the time. And he is sitting in a bar talking to two ladies of the evening, Mabel and Betty. They all seem to be named the same. Wherever you meet them in the world, unless they have a name like Lulu or Sugar Mama.
Okay.
I like Sugar Mama better.
Sugar Mama.
My friend here wants to know where he can find this woman named Kutu. He's willing to give 10,000 cedis for the correct information. Kofi gave her an approving nod. The correct information was the clincher. Betty and Mabel stared at Kofi as though he were a piece of raw meat. 10,000 cedis, you say? Mabel asked to have the amount verified by him. Yes, 10,000 cedis for the correct information. Betty and Mabel stood to leave them. Let us see what happens, Betty said as they strolled away looking for more immediate prey. Thank you, Daphne. How do you say thank you in God? Oiwaladon. Oiwaladon. He poured the rest of the beer into her glass and stood up to leave. She held his wrist. You are a strong young man. You only want information? She let the spit in front of her dress open a little. Information only, Daphne. Information only. Oiwaladon. He nodded to the regulars as he strolled out. A nice bunch. They look as though they could slice me into sections and sell me if someone offered them the right price for my body. What used to be called a bucket of blood joint. Chapter 29. He's going to different bars because it seems as that's where the best information can be found.
Of course.
The most reliable source. It's called the Whatever Bar. This is him talking to himself, his subconscious. Get to the table against the wall, survey the landscape, decide who would be the most likely person to have the info I want. He pretended not to notice the man in the old-fashioned seersucker suit and canary yellow pointy-toed shoes, who eased into a seat a few tables away. The waiter clasped his hand behind his back as he stood in front of Kofi. The expression on his face said it all. Are you lost? Do you have a cold ABC lager? You wish to have a cold ABC lager? If you have one, yes, we have. Kofi and the man in the yellow pointed-toed shoes casually eyed each other as the waiter strolled away to get his beer. The waiter returned with the beer as warm as the one he had sipped in the Pito bar. The waiter overcharged him and made an oblique movement back to the bar. The yellow shoes guy made a super casual movement to Kofi's little table. Please excuse me, sir, but I would like to ask you if you are of the African diaspora.
Mm-hmm.
Kofi almost choked on his sip of beer of all the approaches. Well, yes. As a matter of fact, I am of the African diaspora. Ah! Just as I thought. He slid into the chair on Kofi's left, offering him a clear view of the bead-hung entrance, just as I thought, an African-American. Kofi decided to enjoy the moment. After all, this might be the information source he was looking for. That's a brilliant deduction that I'm an African-American, especially I just told my mama. I make these deductions all the time, fortunately. He looks like an African version of that old-fashioned character in the movie Casablanca, the weasel type. What was his name? Peter Lorre. That's who he looks like, with yellow pointed-toed shoes and a wash and wear seersucker suit. Incidentally, I am to introduce myself. My name is Mr. Charlie James Cote. I am of royal blood. My great-grandfather was almost a king.
Keyword is almost. More like a bastard, but go ahead.
Didn't quite make it. My name is Kofi Brown, and I am not of royal blood. What can I do for you, Mr. Cote? It was getting late, and he wanted to hit one more spot before he called it a day, aside from the fact that Brother Kwame was behaving in an Ananse fashion. Aha! I'd like what to ask you, Mr. Brown, what can I do for you? I like that. But I must say perhaps that there is something I can do for you. Oh? Mr. Charlie James Cote looked over his left shoulder, looked over his right shoulder as though he were checking the area around him for spies. He reached into the inside pocket of his suit and gracefully pulled out a handkerchief that had been wiped once upon a time. He hunched his upper body over the dirty, neatly folded handkerchief to prevent any curious types from peeking at his treasure. Kofi worked to stifle the smile he felt coming to his face. He made a Houdini-like production of unfolding the handkerchief. In the center of the handkerchief was a ring with one of the worst gold settings Kofi had ever seen. This was taken from my great-grandfather's finger just before he was buried, Lord bless his memory. The gold was beginning to turn green, and the ring itself looked like a narrow cut of copper pipe. Kofi studied the ring before making his assessment. Looks a little tarnished, don't you think? What do you plan to do with it? Cote made a theatrical production of blinking with surprise. I'm going to sell it to you, my African-American diaspora friend, for only 50,000 cedis. Why so cheap? You say, Cote was obviously not up to Kofi's level of sarcasm. I'm asking you why you're attempting to sell me such a shoddy piece of jewelry so cheaply. The sarcasm finally registered and acted as a spur for Mr. Charlie James Cote's next item for sale. He reached inside his pocket again and pulled out an envelope. Mr. Brown, my African-American diaspora friend, he whispered, I have here the last will and testament of my great-grandfather, who was poisoned by his third wife. Before he died, he told me he had buried a box of valuables in the hills just outside of Kumasi. I have only to go there, unbury this box, and I will be a rich man. Whoever helped me to get there will also share in the wealth. So how much does it take to get to Kumasi? A shrewd gleam appeared in both of Mr. Cote's eyes. Oh, not very much. My diaspora African-American brother, not much at all. I would charter a taxi It would cost perhaps 20, 30,000 cedis. Well, don't look at me, my African Ghanaian slick brother. I'm not the one to sponsor your trip. I'm not the one. Mr. Charlie James Cote looked serious and disappointed. However, I'll dash you a couple of thousand for the information. It's about a woman. Mr. Cote, the bipolar hustler, immediately perked up. Oh, I know many women, my African diaspora brother. I will go for one of them at this time. No, stop. I'm talking about a specific person. Her name is Kutu. The hustler frowned, rubbed his thin chalk thoughtfully, chewed on his bottom lip. It seems that I have heard of this name. Well, tell you what. I'm going to dash you 1,000 cedis. If I come back here tomorrow and you have the correct information about this person, I will dash you 3 more. Are you getting me? The shrewd gleam reappeared in Mr. Cote's eyes as he folded Kofi's 1,000 cedi note in a neat square and pushed it down into his inside pocket. You can count on me, my African-American diaspora brother from America. Then he slithered away from the table. Back to the taxi, Brother Kwame. He stood around and said, it is getting late. I think I must be getting home to my wife and children. Just give me one more stop, Brother Kwame. Just one more stop. Just one, sir? Okay? Just one. Just one. Sir Lord's Bar.
Give
Well, they got some name.
Give me a break.
Sir Lord's Bar was painted on the tired sign, half hanging above the entrance to the small bar across the drainage ditch. Kofi barely had time to sit down at the back table before the owner, a large, round-faced black man in a bright red shirt, approached him. He reached out to give the middle finger-popping West African handshake. Kofi felt a sense of accomplishment of being able to do it. Welcome to Sir Lord's Bar, my friend. What would you like, please? What would you please? What? A cold beer and a little information. Are you the owner? I am indeed. A cold beer, no problem. Kohane! One cold beer here. The beer is coming. Now, sir, information part, you will dash me here.
Straight to business.
Damn, news does travel fast, doesn't it? He slipped 1,000 cedis out of his pocket. Well, it'd be better if the dash was 2,000. Kofi was feeling a little ragged. Why argue over $50? The beer was as warm as the previous bottle at the whatever bar. Guess the electricity was spoiled. Listen to me, spoiled. I'm beginning to sound like a local. Now then, sir, what is it you would like to know? I'm looking for a woman named Kutu. Kutu? An unusual name. But you have come to the right place. You know this woman? She was here about 20 minutes ago. She lives not too far from here. I can send the boy for her if you like. Another 1,000 cedis, of course. Ask her to hurry. I don't have time. A lot of time. Kofi suspected the little stuff was being rubbed into the game. When the man gave the messenger instructions in Ga, he could understand only one word of the order. Obruni. Well, here we go again. The big man paced back and forth as they waited for Kutu, flashing fishy smiles in Kofi's direction. 10 long minutes later, the messenger led a young woman into the bar. Kofi judged her to be about 20, plump, a vacant shoe button look in her eyes. Was she retarded? Aha, beautiful Kutu. Come, let me introduce you to a new friend. Sorry, mister. This is not the Kutu I'm looking for. The woman I'm looking for has a child about 20-some years old. Ha ha ha! This one has 2 children, aged 6 and 8. That adds up to 13.
Try again.
Kofi made a beeline for the door. No need to waste any more time here. I'll be back. He called up his shoulder. The next day, Salena was not pleased that he wanted to spend another evening in Jamestown rather than go dancing with her at the Zebra Club.
Mm-hmm.
Kofi, why must you go to that dreadful place? There are many wicked people there. Salena, there are wicked people everywhere. Well, I don't like it. Salena, look. One of the reasons why I came to Ghana here was to check this out. But why? Why? Because my mother and father are curious about what happened. Why don't we... Well, I'll be damned, she hung up on me. Okay, if that's the way you want to be. 5:30, time to take a shower and get ready for the wicked folks in Jamestown.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
He chose a dark green t-shirt to wear. Maybe it'll make you a little less conspicuous. Strolling through the lobby, the desk clerk ran over to him. Mr. Brown, a small boy delivered this for you a few minutes ago. Sorry that the telephone is spoiled again. Dear Kofi, sorry you were cut off. I didn't mean to sound annoyed with you, but I'm so worried that something might happen to you. Please be careful. Tomorrow we will meet at Susan's place and then go to the films. 7 o'clock? Faithfully yours, Salena Sarpong. He felt relieved, so it was a drop call. That I can understand. Could I have a pen and paper, please? He scribbled, Dear Salena, 7 o'clock at Susan's place. See you then. Best wishes. Kisses. Kofi.
Kisses.
The boy will deliver straight away, sir. He gave the message to 5,000 cedis, 5 less than the last time. The desk clerk smiled his approval. The Bruni is learning how to dash proper. Brother Kwame pulled up 15 minutes late, looking a little sheepish. Mr. Brown, I want to take you to do your work, but my wife says no. She does not want me to go to that place in the evening. Brother Kwame, no problem. I'll just charter another taxi. Can you collect me tomorrow morning? I have a few errands to do. What time, sir? 10 a.m. would be fine. I will be there, sir. Sometimes taking a taxi into Jamestown would be like being in New York and asking a taxi driver to take you up to Harlem.
Gotcha.
Oh, please.
Mm-hmm.
Kofi stood on the steps in front of the Greenleaf Hotel watching Brother Kwame's taxi pull away in a cloud of dust and gravel. Okay, my brother. If not your taxi, then somebody else's taxi. He strolled out onto the road in front of the hotel. Every MC taxi they saw him screech to a stop and then made an immediate getaway when he announced, I want to charter your taxi for 2 hours to take me to Jamestown. The irony of a black man being unable to get a taxi to take him to a black part of town made him smile. This is like what it's like in New York trying to get a taxi to Harlem. Or from downtown to 47th Street on Chicago's South Side at midnight. A half hour later, the driver was persuaded to make the trip. But I must double this charter rate and I must be paid now. Kofi was beginning to feel impatient. It was close to twilight. Okay, pal, you got it. He didn't have to be told when they arrived in Jamestown. The balmy breeze carrying the slaughterhouse stench did it. You know Jamestown? I know how to get to 3 places in Jamestown, the Pito Bar, right up the road here, and then we will go to the whatever bar, and then Sir Lord's Bar. The taxi driver, a wiry little man with tribal scars on both cheeks, looked up into his rearview mirror at Kofi. Why come all the way to Jamestown to drink beer? The ways of the Brunis were very strange. The regulars in the Pito Bar seemed to be in exactly the same places he had seen them in the day before.
They are.
The Afrobeat music was louder than before, forcing people to argue louder. The man who didn't look like a waiter came to his table with a warm ABC lager. Thank you, just what I needed, a warm beer. The man's smile looked like a grimace of pain. 4,000 cedis. It was 3,000 about the same time yesterday. Oh, sorry, I made a mistake. 3,000 is correct. Kofi slapped the money down on the table, feeling a little bit pissed. You brothers have begun to get to me a little bit. Where's Daphne? Daphne is not about. I can see that. How about Betty and Mabel? They go and come, they go and come. Kofi took a sip of his warm beer and smiled to himself. What else do prostitutes do but go and come, go and come?
Mm-hmm.
Or is that their job? He checked his watch. I'll give it 15 minutes. He noticed 2 men at the corner of the bar checking out his watch. If there was ever any such thing as two dudes looking like hyenas on the prowl, it would be those two. Time to move. You have more beer in your bottle. It's for Daphne. Save it. Leaving the bar, he felt as though he had escaped from a quiet mugging.
Mm-hmm.
The taxi driver was also feeling uneasy. This part of town is not so nice. We're not going to be here long either. I just need to stop at 2 more spots. The one just around the corner here, the whatever bar. How do you know of these places? It's a long story. Why don't you park right in front of the place? I won't be longer than 15 minutes. It will be dark in a few minutes. I can see that, my friend. Kofi took his table against the wall. Looks like they reserved this one for me. The waiter seemed a bit tad friendlier than the day before. It will be a warm night, sir. You would like ABC? ABC cold, please. The waiter smiled at his request. Where do you think we are? One of the posh hotels. This is the whatever bar in Jamestown. Kofi glanced around the dimly lit bar. It could be a juke joint somewhere deep in Mississippi. Thank God the music isn't too loud. The waiter set the beer on his table, popped the top off, and accepted his payment. Oh, where's Mr. Charlie James Cote? Is he about? Yellow Toes? Is that what you call him? It is what everybody calls him. Don't worry, he will be here as soon as he hears of you are here. Kofi wanted to ask another question, but the sudden darkness cut him off. The waiter announced, the electricity is spoiled again. So, how long will it be spoiled? Who can say? Maybe all night, maybe all week. You want to buy a candle for your table? Kofi glanced out of the bar at the sight of the taxi driver easing away. You dirty low down dog. Yes, how much? 5,000. Bring it. He sat in the darkness studying the glowing cigarette ends. Were they moving closer to me? The bar had quieted down to guttural whispers and an occasional laugh. Outside, a few vendors along the road had set up small lanterns, barely casting enough light to show what they were selling. The waiter lit his candle and placed it in a cut-off milk can. It was the only light in the bar. Kofi tried to appear nonchalant, but his brain was working feverishly. Don't panic. Be cool. Don't panic. Be cool. Gotta figure the way out of this. If I get up suddenly and try to run out of the door, they'll think I'm scared to death. And where would I go when I got out of here? I've only seen 2 taxis since I've been in this section, and I was in one of them. While he was feverishly considered alternatives, he could see the outlines of 4 men enter the bar. 2 of them groped their way to the bar. One of them seated himself in a dark spot near the entrance, and the 4th man walked into the light of his candle. My name is Ananse. My mother's name was Kutu. I have been told that you're asking of her. Why?
Whoa.
The man in front of his candle looked like someone out of the jungle. His hair was nappy and wired out, his open shirt torn in the front and the sleeves, and his eyes were glowing like hot coals. Ananse, sit down. We have stuff to talk about. An hour later, chapter 30. An hour later, this is a very good story you have told me, Mr. Brown. Call me Kofi, man. You make me feel like your grandfather, so no matter when you call me Mr. Kofi studied Ananse's bright white smile. I guess that comes from not eating candy, refined sugar all the time. So, Kofi. Ananse paused to light his second joint in the candle's flame. You're telling me that your father's success as a filmmaker and all that came from a deal that he made with my father? Kofi sensed an undercurrent of anger in the question, or was it just the spooky atmosphere of the whatever bar? No, no, my brother, that is not what I'm saying. My father would probably have been successful at any rate because he's a very talented man. What I am saying is that there was a connection formed between us because of my father knowing your father. Whatever happened way back then is what happened. We can't chew meat off bones that are 20 years old. He could see a shrewd look on Ananse's face. This guy's sharp, smart. Ananse passed the finger-sized joint over to Kofi. No chance. No thanks, brother. This smelling is enough to get me high. Ananse laughed a low-pitched rumble. It is wise to know that you do what you should do and what you shouldn't do. Who told you that? My mother. How is she? She died from the malaria 10 years ago. Sorry to hear that. They were silent for a few beats. Ananse sucking on the joint. Kofi thinking of what next. Kofi, you want to take a walk on the ocean? It's just there. I enjoy smoking my weed on the ocean. Sure, let's go. He felt a slight sense of relief, leaving the paranoid atmosphere of the whatever bar. He stumbled along beside Ananse, feeling insecure, vulnerable. Damn, I don't even have a penknife to defend myself. Well, what would it matter? The odds are stacked against me 100-1. The streets were charcoal black with a dim candle here and there, but it didn't seem to prevent the people around them from doing what they wanted to do. Children were playing in the middle of the road, chasing each other in the dark, doing the childish things that children all over the world do. Lovers were taking advantage of the darkness to exchange kisses and caresses. The pungent smell of marijuana hung heavy on the air. Ananse, I thought smoking marijuana was illegal in Ghana. It is, he answered. He took a deep hit on his joint. What happened if the police caught you if you got busted? Once again, the deep rumbling laughter. The police do not often come to this section, and if they dared to arrest somebody, they probably wouldn't make it out of here. Mm-hmm. Oh, like that, huh? Exactly like that. Mm. They skirted a full-fledged soccer game on the beach, the full moon making a ghostly thing happen with the players. Kofi hadn't noticed the three men following them through the black streets, but now, on the moonlit beach, he became aware of them. So that's the way they're going to do it. Ananse set me up. The ocean is calm, and I'm a damn good swimmer. That's what I'll do as soon as they make a hostile move. I'll run into the water. Don't mind them, they're with me. They have my back, as you say in America. Oh, I didn't know that. Yes, we have to look out for each other here. The three men trailing them never came closer than 50 yards. Kofi began to relax a bit. Ananse paused at an outcropping of rocks. One of my favorite spots to sit here. They sat on the rock, not saying anything, for a few minutes. The moonlight on the water and the soft lapping against the shore was hypnotic. Ananse, when did you come to Jamestown? He pulled out a lighter and relit the joint. Kofi could see his homies sprawled out on the beach to their right. He would find them up too. Wow, these guys smoke herb like cigarettes. I was born in Jamestown. And you lived your whole life here. And I lived my whole life here. When my mother was forced to leave the village because of her relationship with my father, she came here. Where else could we go? She had nothing but the clothes on her back. I'll have to write Grace Hulaba Ajaya, thank you, for steering me in the right direction. What was life like for you here, growing up in these conditions? Oh God, I hope I don't sound like some sort of interview on one of the magazine shows. Here's what I asked the Pharaoh child, and here's what the Pharaoh child answered. Mm-hmm. You see how it is here. It was worse for us, me and my mother, because there were only the two of us. We were the only family we had. In Ghana here, it is very hard if you don't have family. He paused for a long hit on his joint. We lived in the streets, and we slept on the streets, and very often out here on the beach. The familiar laugh rumbled out spontaneously. What's funny? I was just thinking of the story my mother told me of how we almost drowned it sleeping on the beach. She said the first time we came here, I was a baby. She went to sleep, covered me with her shawl. As she woke up to find the water about to cover us up, she didn't know anything about ocean tides and stuff like that. Sometimes they think it was a blessing that she died because it meant that she wouldn't have to struggle anymore. She wouldn't have to struggle to find food for us, to find a place to sleep. She would no longer have to do some of the things she did to keep us alive. I can understand how you feel, but let me ask you this, honestly, something my dad wanted to know. What did your mother tell you about your father? Ananse stared at the horizon for a long time. Kofi had the feeling he didn't want to answer the question, or maybe he didn't hear the question. Finally, he spoke very quietly, very simply. My mother told me when she was dying many things that she had never told me before. She told me that she had met my father in the forest beyond our village and that they fell in love. In that place and in that time, people were not supposed to fall in love. Marriages were arranged by the families. When she met him there in the forest, she knew he was different. But it was only later that she found out why he lived in the forest and that he had unusual powers. Did she tell you that what those powers were and whether or not they could be passed along? Ananse cuffed him on the shoulder playfully. Hey, you want to know everything. That's why I'm here, Ananse. Yes, I know. He answered in the same serious tone. Powers? Let me see. She told me that he had the power to make himself different. Like going from a man to a snake, for example. She didn't say that. She talked about him amusing her by becoming a tree. Mm-hmm. Or suddenly moving from one place to the other. The kind of things a magician can do. There are men here in Jamestown who can do magic tricks like that. You have to remember, my friend, my mother was a simple village girl. She would not know how certain things are done. But Ananse, let's just say for the sake of argument, that your father was a man who had learned supernatural secrets in the forest. And you want to know if I have this magic also? Do you feel that you do? Once again, a long pause. I've never thought hard on this, but I can think of times when I have managed to avoid danger, serious problems in ways I don't quite understand. Whether that is my father in me or not, I cannot say. Wow. Can you give me an example? Kofi spotted several large rats scurrying across the rock to the left. He shivered at the sight. Don't mind them. They don't come close to us because they know we would catch them and eat them. Yeah.
Okay.
You want an example? Ananse turned to face Kofi. Yes. I can give you an example. Last month, me and my crew, those over there, were stealing from a big man's house in Labone. He paused to gauge Kofi's reaction. Kofi deadpan. Okay, you telling me you're a burglar. I'm not the police. Suddenly, we realized that the big man had come home with a large party of people. My crew ran out the back way, but I was upstairs looking around for valuable jewelry. There were bars on the upstairs windows as well as downstairs, so I couldn't get out of the windows. And by now the house was full of people. I heard the madame call out, "We have thieves in the house. They may still be here." the big man, I think he was a minister of something or other, called to his servants and the others, I have arms in the den. Arm yourselves and search the house. If you find someone, shoot to kill. I will pay for your fine. All I could think was, I'm done for. They're going to kill me. I wish very hard, I'm telling you, I wish very, very hard that they would not find me. And then a great calm settled over me. I can't really describe it completely. I opened the door of the room I was in and strolled out. I walked right past these men who were going from room to room with pistols at the ready and out of the front door. My crew is still talking about my miracle escape. You became invisible? I can't say that. I don't know. Maybe these people were so anxious to kill me that they just overlooked me. Can you think of other examples? The joint was smoked down to the roach level. Ananse stuck it in the corner of his mouth. Sometimes I tell you, there are times when I think I can tell what another person is thinking. Like when you know I was concerned about the rats over there. Yes, yeah, things like that. But I wouldn't want to say that I'm reading someone's mind. What would you call it? Kofi, you are a ritual Brune from America. You have no idea what it takes to live on the streets of Jamestown. You're right about that. But what's that got to do with reading someone's mind? A lot. If you're not able to figure out what the other person is about, what those other people are going to do, you will not survive in Jamestown. I lived my whole life in this lousy place. I have figured a few things out. I bet you have. But why don't we put this conversation on hold for a while? I'm getting awfully sleepy. Where can we go to rent a room for the night? Ananse slapped. There are no rooms to be rented. This is our bedroom. Kofi took note of the increase of rats. I don't think I would sleep very well on these rocks. Well, if you go to the beach, someone will surely rob you and maybe do worse. Well, I guess this is it.
Choices, options here. Sleep with the rats and hope they don't. You don't have to grab one to eat.
Hey, everybody's at risk here. Morning. No maid singing. Kofi wedged himself out of the rock crevices, every bone in his body sore, aching. Ananse was nowhere in sight. Kofi panicked and felt for his money belt. It was still in place. Well, I'm still alive and I have money. Now how in the hell do I get out of this ghetto? He yawned himself, fully awake, stretched and climbed down from the rocks. It was 8 a.m. and the sun was already scorching hot. He felt dirty, wrinkled, funky, and his breath had a bad taste from the warm beer he drank in the whatever bar. Shuffling through the garbage-littered beach to the road that bordered the beach, he heard his name being called. Hey, Kofi! Hey, Kofi! Ananse was running to meet him. He held half a coconut in each hand. Here, coconut water. It's fresh. He didn't need a second invitation. He guzzled the water. That's good. Thanks, man. Really appreciate it. We thought you would like it. Hurry with me. Have transport for you to Accra. Funny, he says Accra as though Jamestown is in another state or maybe another country. They came to a corner where people were being loaded into a converted Volkswagen bus, the Tro-Tro. The bus would normally accommodate 16 people, 4 in each of the 4 seats, but 20 were being stuffed into the Tro-Tro. They called this one the beggar's Tro-Tro. Kofi didn't need an explanation. He could see the amputated limbs with the pus oozing through, the lepers with the missing fingers and toes, the blind, and the grotesquely crippled. Ananse, we need to talk more. Can you hook up with me tomorrow about 6 o'clock? Where? Let's have dinner. How about the Country Kitchen restaurant? You know where it is? I know where it is. I will be there. Kofi stared out of the window at the filthy drainage ditches, the shacks lining the rutted road, Ananse giving him a furnished British military salute.
Like
As the
his daddy.
Churchill, as the Churchill jerked in the gear, he did everything to try to avoid looking to the face of the woman seated on his right, who had a black socket where her nose used to be. Dear Dad, Mom, I hooked up with Asiafo, Kutu's son, yesterday night. His name is Ananse. If my memory serves me well, I think Ananse has to do with the spider. In any case, we got together on a pitch dark night in Jamestown. A letter really won't do the trick. I'll have to save the details for my return. He gave me a whole story of him and his mother surviving on the streets of Jamestown. I shouldn't say streets. That's a serious misnomer. Rutted past would be more like it. His brother's 22 years old. His mother died. He's been living by his wits all of his life. When I think about his life in Jamestown and the level of poverty he has survived, is surviving, it makes me mad to think about our celebrity poverty-stricken rappers who want to glamorize the gangster lifestyle. They ought to try week in Jamestown. Nancy's a thug, I don't doubt that. But I think he can be saved. We're having dinner tomorrow evening, in the country kitchen to talk about some stuff. I'll update you. Meanwhile, I'm going to have to explain my absence from the scene last night to my jealous girlfriend. Life goes on. Love, Kofi. And there we are. I'm going to have to write a lot. 27 to 27, 28, and 29.
Yeah.
27. Sorry while I'm doing this. 27, 28, 29. Okay.
Wow.
The Snake Doctor.
The Snake Doctor. So you read up to chapter 30.
That's right.
Okay. So.
From 27 to 30. 27, 28, 29, 30.
Okay. All right. So.
27, 28, 29, 30.
So next reading will be 31.
That's right.
All right.
Look at you.
Okay.
Just count your funds up.
Yeah, I know that's right. Anyway, The Snake Doctor.
Yeah, right here.
That book right there. That book right there can be purchased on Author House, at Amazon, Barnes & Noble.
Barnes & Noble.
Your website is www.odiehawkins.com. You can go up and just say, I want a book by Odie Hawkins, and the book is The Snake Doctor. And you are also on the author's page on Amazon. Also, for those who are curious and researchable, going there, going up, going up, going up. There we go. Did very zoom way in. For those who know how to research, you can Google Odie Hawkins. And one more time, I'm going to Google. I'm going to go right in close to you. Just see The Snake Doctor. And then I'm zooming out. There you go. Snake Doctor, Odie Hawkins. Kisses. I shade.
Things you can do.
Things you can do. Awesome. Looking forward to the next chapter.
Tomorrow, Monday.
Monday.
While it's hot.
While it's hot. Ciao.
Ciao.